Good afternoon and welcome everybody to Wall Street Reporter's next Superstock live stream for today, August 12th. We have an exciting new company to introduce to you today. It is dynaCERT and the CEO, Jim Payne. dynaCERT is trading on the Toronto Stock Exchange. TSX symbol is DYA. Over the counter, it's DYFSF. I think you're going to be very interested in learning about this company. Anybody who's new to the story, I know we have a lot of existing shareholders, but anybody in our audience who hasn't heard about this company, they're in the clean tech space. They're addressing multi-billion-dollar opportunities. Obviously, Jim is going to tell you all about that. And this company has attracted some significant investment from major institutions, family offices. We've had even though Eric Sprott has put $14 million into this company. So there's a lot of smart money going into this stock. So I think you'll definitely want to take a quick look at this. As always, anybody that's new to our platform, our goal with the Wall Street Reporter next Superstock live stream is to introduce you to companies which we believe have 10x plus upside potential. And over the last 12 months, we've seen a number of our presenters increase anywhere from 1,300% to 2,000% even in the last couple of months. So today we're going to find out if dynaCERT is our next 10x winner. What do all these companies have in common? They have three things in common. One, they're going after big markets, multi-billion-dollar market opportunities. Number two, these companies are at key inflection points right now, right at the threshold of that explosive growth, and they have multiple catalysts in place which can unleash that value. So those of you who are regular attendees at our live streams know that your questions, the Q&A component of our event, is really the highlight. This is really what makes these events special. So please make sure to ask your questions after Jim gets finished. We already have about 40 questions that came in last night and this morning. So we'll go to those first, and then we'll go to the live questions. So let's get started. I'm going to turn it over to Jim, and I'll see you guys back in about 20 minutes. Jim, take it away.
Thank you, Jack. It's a real pleasure to have this opportunity. So we're talking about dynaCERT. dynaCERT, we like to say that we have a global solution to reduce pollution. This is a product that we have ready to go to market and in the market today. Obviously, this is our forward-looking statement. We're not going to spend any time there. I want to introduce the company. So we have a very unique patented technology. We produce measured amounts of hydrogen and oxygen from distilled water. The important thing is we produce this on demand. There is never any storage or no pressure, so this thing is extremely safe. We take a small amount of power from the engine's battery bank to produce these gases through a very unique patented electrolysis system. Currently, we are marketing our product to transport trucks, mining industry, generators, reefers, and construction equipment. I think the important thing to understand is through this, we improve the fuel economy, but more importantly, we reduce the emissions and reduce them very significantly. So our hydrogen technology, first of all, we're not a new company. We've spent 16 years and over $60 million in research and development to take this thing to a commercialization. We've continued to expand our commercialization or our research and development also for new models. Our product, it does result in increased power, better torque, less fuel consumption, and less CO2, CO, and NOx for the internal combustion engine. If you look at this slide here, it shows the emission benefits. Now, the important thing to understand, this is not us saying this. We have gone to great extremes to have this thing tested, verified, validated through accredited third-party testing facilities around the world. We've done it with the Pitt Group here in Canada, with Continental and Emitech under the guidance of TÜV North and TÜV South in Germany. We've also used the University of Ontario here, and more recently, ICAT in India has certified our product, and just in the last week or two through TÜV in the Middle East, we've just got certified for 7 applications, so our product can be marketed anywhere in the world with accreditation. So we reduce the NOx, or the NOx, which is the most deadly gas produced by a diesel engine, by 88%. We reduce the CO2 from 6 to 19%, carbon monoxide 47%, the hydrocarbons, or the THC, by 55% or 57%, and the particulate matter north of 55%. We like to say that we reduce the emissions north of 50%, clear across the board. I think the important thing to understand, we're reducing these emissions at the source. We're reducing them right at the combustion. We are not a filtration system. We are not trying to filter out or capture the emissions after the fact. We are reducing this right at the source, or right at the combustion. By doing this, you look at the economic benefits, we're reducing the fuel consumption on an average 6 to 19%, typically 10 to 15%. The diesel exhaust fluid, or the DEF, we're reducing that by 51%. And this is done through the computerization, because the truck computer, or the engine computer, determines the amount of DEF it's got to spray into the exhaust to reduce the reduce the NOx. Because we're reducing it so significantly right at the source, this has decreased that use. The DPF systems, drivers are continuously coming back. We've increased the life of the diesel particulate filters by an average of 33%. Also, in the trucking industry, if you understand, it's the DPF and the DEF causes so much downtime and aggravation to the truckers that we have reduced that so significantly, and reduced the regens that the trucks have to go through. The estimated oil changes, we've improved that by 25%. It was interesting. We actually had the oil tested where there was 2 identical trucks running the identical period between oil changes, one with a unit on, one without. The one without came back at 8% soot content. They said that's typical. The truck with our unit on it came back with less than 1% soot content. Now it's a soot that breaks down the oil and starts wearing out the engine. So therefore, by doing this, it is extending the engine life of the, because of that. You look at our product line, right now we've got, 3 different series, or 3 different lines. We've got the HG2, which we just recently launched. This was developed for the reefer market. It is also now being used in school buses and smaller delivery trucks. It's interesting. I bought a brand new Ford diesel a year ago. 4 months ago, I put one of these units on my truck, and just for my own personal use, now we're not marketing typically for a pickup truck, but on my truck, the fuel economy was set at 12.5 liters per 100 kilometers. It has now reduced it to, my average is 9.5. On highway, I'm getting 8.9 liters per 100 kilometers. So it's improved the fuel economy so significant. You look at, then we've got our HG1 series, and this was our series that, our go-to-market series. This was developed for the Class 8 trucks. Now it is on heavy construction equipment and things like that also, but certainly the Class 8 truck, or the transport truck, was our go-to-market. I don't think we could have chosen a tougher market to go to, because you look at the trucking industry, I know they've been inundated over the years. You put this in your oil, you put this in your gas tank, you add this, you add that, you put this in your tires. Everybody's making outlandish, claims of improved fuel economy. That's why we went to such great extremes to have this thing validated and certified globally, where this is not us saying this. And then now we've got the HGC series, and these were developed for the mining industry. We are now, really penetrating the mining industry, also the large power generation industry and stuff like that. Again, you look at these, you look at the mining industry, and they are, really adopting this technology. Export Development Canada has taken one of our dealers, which is H2 Tech, and taken them around the globe. We have now got deals, within the mining industry for this. You look at these big power trains that they're using in the mines, and look at the power generators. The fuel that they are burning is crazy. So they are thrilled with the product. They say, at 5%, fuel economy. This thing pays for itself in less than a year. This shows an application, for a Class 8 truck. I mean, this is typical application, it's mounts on the back of the cab. Now we do have several different mounting brackets and applications for different trucks. This shows you a very typical one with our HG1 on the back of a Class 8 or a transport truck. Here we've got, our product on, everything in heavy equipment from large bulldozers to large payloaders and things like that. And then again, we are now in the mining. And so this shows, on the right, this shows you an application. This is actually a company in Sudbury that manufactures these units for underground mining. They are now marketing our product and putting it underground. They've gone to great extremes to have this thing, tested, and they went through the whole safety thing so they could get it approved for underground. They have now got units underground. Certainly their biggest focus is the reduction in emissions because underground, I mean, that is so critical. Our current marketplace, we are currently on buses, refrigerated trailers, or better known as reefers, delivery trucks or smaller trucks, Class 8 trucks. Class 8 trucks, as I said, that is certainly our biggest market right now. But now we are, you look at the power generators, you look at mining industry around the world. There are so many mines where they are in remote areas where they're so reliant on the power generation just to be able to run their operations. We're also now, we've got companies out in Western Canada in the big farming industries and stuff like that, that are marketing within the farming industry. We're also in the construction and, like I said, in the mining industry. Certainly our planned market is passenger vehicles. We are working with Mosolf Group in Europe to develop one for the passenger vehicles. That was never a big focus for us here in North America, but certainly in Europe, I mean, they love their diesel cars, and by being able to reduce the emissions, that will give them the opportunity to continue driving their diesel vehicles. Small marine vessels, we say this is a plan, although, again, with Mosolf Group, we have now, have a pilot project going on in Europe with the small marine vessels. Certainly, you look at the big ocean vessels, the big container ships and stuff like that. That is a huge market. It is a market that they are certainly the largest polluters in the world. Up till now, or up till recent, they've been able to run totally under the radar screen there, and now, having to really clean up their act. And with our technology and with the ability to reduce the emissions, that's very significant to them. Also had a conversation with them not that long ago, and they said, Jim, the emissions are very important. They said, but the fuel economy is important. But they said, reality is, if we could reduce our fuel cargo, by 5 to 10%, we could increase our payload by that, because right now their largest cargo is their fuel. And then again, we look at the locomotives. As we know, locomotives are a large industry. Now, a lot of them are electric, but they're electric ran by diesel generation. So, I mean, we have the perfect application for that. We look at the total market size. I mean, certainly, the ICE, or the internal combustion engine market. I mean, there's over 1 billion diesel engines currently worldwide. There's over 100 million being developed every year. In Europe, there's 145 million trucks on the market. Certainly in North America, we've got 711,000 trucking companies relying on 3.5 million drivers. I mean, the market is huge. We look at our HG2. Our HG2, like I said, this is for the reefer market. It's interesting stats. There's actually 3 times more refrigerated trailers within North America than there is trucks. We look on the road and we see all these trucks. You multiply that times 3, that's how many refrigerated trailers there is out there that all each have a diesel engine running 24/7 to keep their cargo cool. So, we're certainly very excited about the opportunity and the market size. Certainly the diesel continues to be a growth industry. The internal combustion engines, is still by far the most economical ways of, for commercial transportation. You know, we look around the world, I mean, we see trucks continuously, you know, trucking, consumer and industrial goods, you know, certainly our food, deliveries door to door. You know, I mean, this is a massive market. Now, everybody says to us all the time, aren't you concerned about electric vehicles? Personally, I say no. I said, you know, I truly believe there is a market for electric vehicles. I think it's a huge market. I don't believe we're competing with it. I know that there is electric companies developing electric transport trucks. It's interesting. I've had so many conversations, even as recent, you know, within so many trucking industries. They say, yes, you know, we think that the electric trucks are a perfect application for delivery around cities, stuff like that. But they said, you know, reality is the battery, the weight of the battery reduces our payload by 1/3. They said if we were forced to go that way, it would drive the trucking industry's cost up 3 times. But they said more importantly, they said that the batteries in best conditions has an 8-hour drive time. These trucks are running 24/7. They exchange drivers. You know, a lot of them, especially here in North America, I mean, they're going around the clock. They say that there's no way that we have time to run 8 hours and then plug in to recharge for 6 to 8 hours to go again. And certainly the winter conditions plays havoc with the batteries also. You know, having said that, I mean, is there a future there? Quite possibly, but the reality is right now we've got a solution today where you can adapt our technology, improve the fuel economy, and reduce the emissions very significantly. You know, we look at the value proposition to our end user. You know, this is showing 9 months. We tell the trucking industry, you know, typically your return on investment is, you know, just under 12 months. That's just based on fuel economy. We have not taken into account, you know, all the other advantages that is added. And then of course we add in the future of the carbon credits. You know, we certainly believe that is the future of our company. It's we hold the worldwide patents on the means and methods of monitoring and monetizing carbon credits, you know, within internal combustion engines. We are working very closely with Verra, which is the one of 2 of the certified bodies for carbon credits. We've been working very closely with them, with experts in the UK to get this done. We truly believe that that is our future. I mean, if you look at, you know, carbon credits right now in North America, an average truck, the value in carbon credits is between $2,000 and $3,000 per year just for the reduction in greenhouse gases of one of our units. So then you add that into it. And with the carbon credits, you know, the way we have got it set up, our end users it will be a shared thing where the end user gets 50% of the carbon credits and dynaCERT maintains 50% of the carbon credits. Again, like I spoke before, you know, we've gone to great extreme to have this thing validated independently around the world. You know, we initially started with University of Ontario here testing, but then we went to the PIT group in Canada, which is considered the gold standards within North America. They tested and validated our product. We worked with Continental and Emitech in Germany, had our product tested, validated, so we got the homologation so we could market our product throughout Europe. We've more recently got it certified through ICAT in India. Obviously, we've got several independent testimonials by users globally. Again, you know, in Europe, we worked with TÜV North and TÜV South for the testing for the ABA and KBA, you know, European homologation. And then, which it doesn't even say on here, we just most recently announced we just got the homologation throughout the Middle East for every application, you know, for our technologies within the United Arab Emirates. And so, you know, we have spent a lot of time and a lot of money to have this thing validated locally or globally. Well, the last thing on here was the hydrolytica. I just want to talk briefly about the hydrolytica. I mean, this is, you know, this is our technology. This is patented through us. This has, you know, where we are now, you know, the end user puts on a unit, they have access to the hydrolytica, which shows them ongoing live data where it shows, the improved fuel economy continuously. It shows the reduction in greenhouse gases, where it shows an equation of what that will transfer into carbon credits. This takes all the guesswork out of it. This gives the end user hard evidence, and so this information is all gathered through our unit, but it's gathered right from the computer of the engine. So this is, again, this is not us saying this. This is not our technology saying this. This is our technology taking the analytics and all the data from the engine, translating it into a language that is very easily understood. For the end user's verification, I mean, dynaCERT Hydrolytica, we've just talked about. This gives them the visualization on the computers and their phones. It compares to a fleet management system. I love to say, our Hydrolytica, it's like a fleet management system on steroids. I mean, this gives them everything a fleet management system does, plus. Certainly, you look at the high barriers to entry. I mean, our unit, again, we've got patents on the separation methods of the H2 and O2, and this is a very unique development which is owned and patented by dynaCERT. Again, like I said, we spent $60 million perfecting this technology and then having it tested and validated worldwide, commercializing it, so we were ready to take it to market. We've got worldwide patent technology, and actually in 5 different verticals. But everything from, the unique electrolysis system, our reactor, our unique processes, our smart ECU, or the unique ECU. I mean, our smart ECU is our electronic control unit. This is a very unique system where it is the computerization that determines the flow rate of gases. It gathers all this information. It does so much. This is 100% owned and controlled by dynaCERT, and then we've got our very unique encrypted data management system. Again, certification, we've got global jurisdictions, and so our marketing strategy is now across multiple verticals. And the other thing, we certainly have first to market advantage, especially with this product, with the patents and with the certifications and homologations. There's companies that have been trying to do this for years. There is companies out there that profess to do all kinds of things. I'm not downgrading them, but we have gone to great extremes to have our product validated and certified. So our global business model, I mean, we have a major cap already expended, but dynaCERT, we sell and assemble our product. We are not in the sales. We sell through dealer networks, where we now have close to 40 dealers worldwide. Currently, we assemble here in Toronto. We are in talks currently for setting up an assembly plant in Mexico, in Europe, and in India. You look at our cost of production. I mean, currently our cost of production is 50% of our wholesale price. So we've got a very healthy profit margin, and then again, our fast return on investment per unit, to the end users. dynaCERT, we have a very low overhead, and again, like I said, with our global network that is continuously growing, we've been very, very particular who we are aligning ourselves with globally to make sure that our product is properly marketed, properly installed. Currently, this says 25 plus globally. This was actually in April of 2020. We are now pushing 40 dealers globally. You look at our dealers. I mean, we've got some dealers that, have really invested in DYA itself. I mean, you look at the Molsolf Group, Dr. Jörg Molsolf in Germany. They have made a very significant investment directly into the company, along with, take on a dealership. They have now opened up 23 showrooms and installation centers around Europe. They have distribution channels in Germany, France, Netherlands, Belgium, Luxembourg, Poland, and Czechoslovakia. Carbon Clean is, our dealer here in North America. They have made, again, a significant investment in DYA, but they have made a huge investment in their marketing efforts here in North America. They have some of the largest fleets in North America now that are running pilot projects. I mean, these are companies that equate to tens of thousands of units. So, we are very, very pleased with these guys. I mean, in Carbon Clean, they've aligned themselves now with Velocity, which looks after all the installations for them across North America. A very large, very well situated company, that does nothing but service vehicles, a lot of the largest Fortune 500 companies in North America. Again, we've got Fari Holdings out of Canada. They've invested a very significant amount in DYA. They are also a dealer in Brazil and Israel. They have the exclusive rights to Israel. They are now marketing within the Israeli market. And then again, we've got H2 Tech, which is the company that Export Development Canada has now taken them around the globe, within the mining industry. They have really blazed an enormous trail within the mining industry. They've got mining projects now in Canada, USA, Peru, Chile, Brazil, Paraguay, and Argentina, Uruguay, Russia, Mongolia, and Australia. They have really done a good job, introducing our company to the mining industry, where we see a huge potential. You look at some of the most recent developments, and as Jack said, I mean, Mr. Eric Sprott, I'm sure most know who Eric Sprott is, but he's sort of the Warren Buffett of the Canadian market. Eric Sprott, it was interesting. He called me up just last fall. He said, Jim, I seen Dr. Molzoff had just invested $3 million in your company. I'd like to match that. He says, but first of all, I'd like to have a conversation with you. I said, I'd love to talk with Eric. After a long conversation, he said, I changed my mind. Right away, my head dropped, and I thought, oh, what did I say? And then he said, no, I've changed my mind. I don't want to invest $3 million. I'd like to invest $15 million. I'd like to buy 10% of the company. I said, Eric, we were not looking to raise money, but I said, I'd love to have you on board. The reality is, within days, he had put $14 million investment directly into the company and put another $1 million investment into the market to start to help clean up the market. Again, like I said, Dr. Molzoff, I mean, he has made a significant investment within the company. He has also opened 23 showrooms around Europe and give us an initial order of 1,000 units. Unfortunately, because of COVID, just as he had started moving things, COVID, as we all know, brought everything to a screeching halt, but he is now very excited and very active to re-engage and get things moving. He is actually flying here to spend a week with us in the next couple of weeks, and is very motivated to move things ahead there. dynaCERT, last fall, we were voted #1 overall in all sectors in the 2020 TSX Venture Exchange. DYA had realized a 284% increase in share price. Since then, we have graduated just recently from the Venture Exchange to the Toronto Exchange. We've also graduated on the US from the OTC QB to the OTC QX. And then over in Europe, we are now trading on 7 different platforms. You look at the capital structure of the company. Currently, we've got just over 350 million shares outstanding, with 41 million warrants and options of 29 million. Currently, a market cap, here is 230 million. Now we're just over $250 million. We're a very liquid stock, typically trading on an average of 4 million shares here in the Canadian market. And again, we're trading, that many shares again on the European market. And, we're now just looking to really extend that and create a real awareness of who we are and what we're doing in the US market. I think we've done a great job marketing the company and creating an awareness here in Canada. I think we've done a great job doing that in the European market. And up till now, we are really an unknown in the US market. And that's why, we're working with Jack, to initially, create this awareness. We have a strong shareholder, our management, between management and insiders, we control and own about 30% of the company through family offices, another 20% and Sprott, 10%. So, you know, we have 50% of the company that is in very, very tight hands. Research reports, you know, we say here, I mean, GBC, you know, put out a first initial target report last year, then they revised it in Q3 of last year. The reality is just Monday of this week, they just launched an updated research report. I encourage anybody to reach out to GBC to get that. We will certainly put, you know, put the information on our website where you can reach out to GBC for this report. They have, again, you know, put a really good report and also increased the target price. You know, I look at comparable technologies. I mean, we look at the skirts today. It's interesting. I was at the Kentucky Truck Show 10 years ago when they first were launching these skirts for trailers. And it was interesting. You know, I was there and walking around and all these trucking companies said, there is no effing way we will put these on our trailer. Now today, here in North America, you're hard pressed to find a trailer on the road without them. The average cost is $3,000 to give them a 1% improvement of fuel economy. You know, today they, you know, stats say that they've penetrated 90% of the market, you know, in just under 9 years. You know, so I look at our company, you know, and I think, you know, that is a very good model to look at. You know, we have really just started very aggressively marketing our product. You know, so if we can follow suit and, hey, if we could penetrate 10% of the market over the next couple of years, you know, 10% of you know, 1 billion trucks or 1 billion engines, you know, is very significant. Again, this is talking about the skirts. So like we say, you know, our units, you know, at just under $10,000 with an improved fuel economy of 10%, as opposed to their, you know, 1% at a cost of $3,000. You know, you look at the comparable, you know, we certainly have a very, very attractive proposition for that. Carbon credits. I mean, carbon credits, you know, this is something that I briefly talked about. This is something we've said for 5 years. We believe strongly this is the future of the company. It's interesting, you know, I was asked, I mean, you know, the world thing on emissions was set to be this November for all the world leaders. I was actually asked to be one of the keynote speakers talking on the future of carbon credits. Now this has been postponed. We're not sure when it will be, you know, because of the COVID, but you know, they certainly see dynaCERT as a very strong leader in this field. Now we are, like I said, we're not there yet, although we've now got the hydrolytica where it validates all that. We've got the patents worldwide for this. We're working with Verra, you know, to get the carbon credits, get the final approval. We have been working very closely, you know, with a company in UK that is an expert in this field, which is Environmental Partners, to see this through. Also with our hydrolytica, you know, we aligned ourselves with one of the best telematics developers who invented the Apple Pay and the PayPal, because we know, I mean, as we move into this arena, I mean, this is like a monetary, you know, this is like a monetary event, and this is something that, you know, we've got to make sure that we've got all the proper, you know, telematics to back this up, which we have, you know, we have in place now, and we have showed, you know, Verra for that. So we're certainly see this as our razor blade for a reoccurring revenue stream. You know, it says on here $2,000. I mean, the reality is it's between $2,000 and $3,000, depending on the length of a current long haul truck here in North America. So like I said, you know, that reoccurring revenue stream in the future, you know, over and above our profit margins, puts dynaCERT in a very, very good and very unique position. You know, you look at the management of the company. I mean, you know, we have, you know, I think done a very good job. Our management team is growing all the time, but you know, look at our management team and our board of directors. You know, there's one thing I have been good at my whole life. I mean, you know, I've been self-employed for over 40 years, running my own project management companies. The one thing I've always been good at is, you know, defining a target and putting a team together to get it there. And that's exactly what we've been working at and what we're continually doing, you know, to grow this company. You know, this shows our board of directors. So why invest in dynaCERT now? I mean, DYA, we have certainly established a very strong global dealer network. Like I said, we are now just broaching 40 dealers across Europe, America, South Asia, and the Middle East. You know, certainly the future of the carbon credits and the application for the worldwide implication. I mean, this is huge. You know, the Mosol, group in Europe, Carbon Clean here in America, along with I don't want to downplay our other dealers. You know, we've certainly got a very strong network of dealers that are now very aggressively marketing our product. You know, again, H2 Tech has really gained a lot of exposure worldwide in the mining industry, thanks to Export Development Canada. So, investment of highlights. This just gives you again an overview. And I mean, we are a leader provider of carbon emission reduction technologies to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions while improving the fuel economy within the internal combustion engines. We've got a proven proprietary and patented technologies. We've got the ability to monitor and monetize carbon credits. We are, an industry creator, a leader protecting by high barriers to entry. I like to say we're blazing a trail where no man's gone before. We have large target markets within Canada, US, South America, Europe, South Asia. It goes on and on and on. We've certainly got, you look at our vertical markets, within the trucks, the reefers, the trailers, the buses, the heavy equipment, the mining equipment, electrical power generation, marine and locomotive, and certainly the future of the car industry within Europe. This certainly creates a very compelling value proposition to the end users, a very attractive business model with very strong margins, and a seasoned and experienced management team and board to realize the success. So Jack, that ends the slide. I would open this up to you to carry on with the questions.
Let's go to some questions here. So I'm going to start off with the questions that came in last night, and then we'll go to the live questions. First question, Jimmy is asking, how effective is your ECU?
That's a great question. Our ECU is very effective. And this is by far what we believe is our most valued asset. This is something we've gone to great extremes to protect, even as we move globally and as we open assembly plants up globally. We will never give up, this smart ECU that will always be manufactured here in Canada and shipped out. It is, extremely smart. It's like a smartphone. It learns all the time.
Okay. Philip was asking, how do you anticipate receival of smart sustainable company rating from UN impacting short-term and long-term demand for units?
Oh, how do I perceive that? I perceive that is absolutely huge. That is something that AAA has spent over a year analyzing this company to put this thing forward. They gave us the highest rating. So now we have the seal of approval from the United Nations Smart Sustainable Cities. That will be on their website as soon as our press release went out today. They're putting that on. We are the first company in the world that has achieved this, for emission reductions. This opens the doors, within municipalities, and we have ongoing talks with cities and municipalities here in Canada, here in Ontario, which I believe, you're going to see a real ripple effect. I think this is one of the most important accreditations that we've received to date.
Okay. Russ was asking, and a couple of people at the same question is, what are the estimated revenues for 2020, 21, and how will you do this?
That's a great question, but there's one thing, Jack. I mean, we as a company, we do not put out forecasts or production or projections, but currently, as everyone knows, I mean, we have, after a 4.5-month shutdown because of COVID. Now I say shutdown in the assembly and office, although we continued working very long and very diligently. Research and development, continued operating. where we have been able to really progress very aggressively within those industries or those areas. People know that we've announced, recently that we've got a backlog of, a 3,000 unit order from Carbon Clean, 1,000 unit order from Molsolf, and we are continuing to get smaller purchase orders now coming in on a regular basis. And so, I mean, do the math. I mean, currently, with this backlog and with us just reopening our assembly plant, which, has a capacity to put out 100 units a day or 2,000 units a month, so these units wholesale just over $6,000. As we said, our profit margin is 100% or half of that. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to do the math and come up with the equations.
Okay, I believe this name is Ali. He's asking, are OEMs like Volvo ready to integrate the dynaCERT hydrogen technology into their production?
That is a great question, and I would encourage everybody to keep an eye on the future of this company. We are in talks with OEMs. We do believe that somewhere down the not too distant future, there will be announcements, but right now, we are not working with OEMs. Right now, our target market is the aftermarket. The aftermarket is by far a bigger market than the OEMs, but having said that, we're certainly, not walking away from that opportunity.
Okay. Tobias is asking, what about the warranty of machines in the case of retrofitting? Many suppliers don't agree with changes on their systems.
No, that's a great question. And if you look on our website, I mean, we have letters from all the major OEMs around the world where our product does not void the warranty. The reality is an aftermarket cannot void the warranty. Now, the reality is, if our product was proven to create a problem, we have very extensive insurance program to cover that. The great news is, to date, we've never had to utilize that. But as far as it voiding the warranty, no, it does not.
Okay, Arnie is asking, do you have a homologation for other trucks? For example, Daimler-Benz?
Again, I encourage people to watch the news. Yes, currently we have the homologation for the MAN trucks in Europe, but yes, we have gone through the whole process, and very soon you will see news talking of these other, but right now we've got to be very cautious what we say because of selective disclosure.
Okay, Gerald was asking, will dynaCERT delay in pursuing the marine industry to await uptake and acceptance of the technology in the trucking industry?
No, that is a vertical that we are working on and have been working on for quite some time. We are going through the process where this thing is certified through the Lloyd's of London. There is a whole process you have to go through for large marine, which we are pursuing. The reality is in the smaller marine, which we have previously announced, thanks to the Molsolf Group in Europe, we now have, one of the large marine boats that go up and down the Rhine River that was scheduled to have a unit put on months ago. Because of the COVID, it was delayed. The unit is there. It's just being scheduled now for application. Okay,
Mitchell was asking, have you installed any HG2 units since the new retrofit? If so, how has the performance been in opinion of consumer?
We absolutely have. I can honestly say that the units that have been out there, now we did have units running for several months. We have, some trucking fleets that we have, brought on that work directly with us as a test platform. So we have had units running for several months on these units where they have met and exceeded, our expectations and what we have said. As I said earlier, I mean, I put one on a brand new Ford truck. Well, I got this new truck. I had broken in for a few months. I put it on, and seriously, I was shocked by the improvement, because I mean this is a brand new truck that has supposed to be the best fuel economy out there, and we reduced it so significantly, or improved the fuel economy so significantly, again, that it was actually shocking to me.
Okay. Keenan is asking, what is the barrier preventing dynaCERT from entering the government rebate sphere? Why has this not occurred yet, and do you think it will?
That's a great question, and I honestly think that the press release that went out this morning, I think this validation and this seal of approval that we have now got from the United Nations and from AAA. I know that we have several cities and government entities that have just been waiting for that. So I really do believe that you'll see in the very near future, that this is going to open an enormous amount of doors.
Okay, we got about a dozen more questions, and then we'll go to the live questions right after. Okay, so Brian is asking, is there a current market for carbon credits? And if so, how much can one average Class 6 generate in real dollar savings per year?
Class 6 generators, we have not, I have not done the math on that, so I am not sure. Is there a market for carbon credits? Absolutely. It is a huge market, especially in the European market. I mean, it is a commodity. There is a trading platform set up for nothing but carbon credits. So yes, there is a market. The market is huge. Like I said, on a Class 8 truck, an average long hauler here in North America right now equates to between $2,000 and $3,000 per year in carbon credits evaluation. So I look at the future. As we start penetrating these markets, and certainly, you look at the mining industry and the power generation. This is where they have a very, very strong appetite for this. So absolutely, there is a market there, and we feel 100% confident that that is a huge opportunity and a huge marketplace for dynaCERT.
Okay, Gary was asking, how well are you positioned to scale up to deliver a significant increase in, I'm assuming he means production volume?
Again, that's a great question. I think we just announced a week ago. I mean, through this downtime, I mean, we have, our assembly plant here in Toronto. We have, had experts come in to set this all up and to design a system where we now have a state-of-the-art assembly lines here. We currently have the capacity here on our line to produce 100 units a day or 2,000 units a month. That's based on an 8-hour-a-day shift. We can double that and triple that by putting on additional shifts. We've got the room here to put in a second assembly line, but the reality is, like we said earlier, we are in talks and negotiations to open 3 additional assembly plants over a period of time, one within Mexico, one within Europe, and one within India. So long term, I mean, it does not make economic sense or any sense for us to be assembling assembly units here in Toronto to ship to Europe. Does not make sense for us assembling units here to ship to India and the Middle East and stuff like that, nor to Mexico and places like that. So right now, our production rate is, we've got the capacity for 2,000 units a month. We can double and triple that immediately or very quickly, but there are certainly plans in place, to grow that.
Okay, Aiden is asking, I'm going to actually rephrase the question, but what would you say are the most important upcoming catalysts for the company?
Well, I mean, the upcoming catalysts, I mean, certainly, as most people know, we have several large fleets with, backed by our dealers that have pilot projects. They have now been running these for several months. They are seeing great results. We certainly anticipate, significant orders from these companies, and when they do, they will go public with that. And I think, as that happens, it will create a domino effect. Like I said, with the skirts. I mean, it especially in the trucking industry. I mean, this is the toughest market that we have gone to. They have been inundated for years. Put this in your oil, put this in your gas tank, put this in your tires, put this up your exhaust. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. We have a proven product with a solid track record now. More importantly, with the hydrolytica, where they can see live. So I certainly think that is a huge catalyst. I think also within the mining industry, I think you're going to see a lot of news come out concerning that. But also, I mean, I think this announcement that went out this morning is a major catalyst, within moving this company and moving our products forward.
Okay. Mark is asking, when would you expect to see the carbon credit revenue?
That's a great question. I keep trying to polish my crystal ball every day to see if I can see that. Reality is, we have been working very closely with DYA. I mean, there is, questions going back and forth all the time. They are very excited of this opportunity, but obviously we are blazing a trail where no man has gone. Do I anticipate that this is going to be this year? I'd like to say yes. Am I being overly optimistic? I don't know. The reality is we have been working over a year. We are working very, very closely, with our group in the UK and with Vera for this. I know that Vera through the COVID had slowed them down very significantly. They have really re-engaged communications with us just over the last couple of weeks. So, I expect this to be sooner than later, but to put any kind of hard date on it, I'm not even going to make that prediction.
Okay. Okay, so we'll get the last question and we'll go to the live. Peter is asking, is the system really working? There are a lot of people who doubt the German TÜV results.
That's a great question. And is the system working? Absolutely. Is the system working great? Yes, we are getting better results than what our, we're certainly getting north of 10% and significantly north of 10% on all the units out there. It's interesting, some of these, we talk about these live fleets out there. I know one of the fleets doubted it. I mean, they've seen such great results and then they doubted it. So they've had the units shut off for a period of a couple of weeks. And they were shocked how they lost the improved fuel economy so quickly. In talking about the results in Germany from TÜV, it's interesting. TÜV actually had to test this thing 4 times. The first time they tested this, and I'm certain a big part of this was because of the whole fiasco that was from Volkswagen, a couple of years ago. The first time TÜV had this tested, they came back, they said, there's something wrong. It's impossible. We got to test this again. We said, fine. They tested it a second time. They got the same results. They said they scratched their head. They said, we've got to bring some independent professors and engineers in to test this the 3rd time. They did that. They got the same results. Then they presented to ABA or ABE and KBA for the homologation. They came back and they said, you got to test this one more time under our guidance. So they tested this thing 4 times. Every time they got the same results. The results are up on our website, and this was through Emitech, is the testing company that does all the testing for TÜV. The results were fantastic. Now, the fuel economy, by their testing came back at 8.9% improved fuel economy in lab on a dyno. The reality is they ran this truck for 3 months, first through the mountainous terrain of Germany and stuff like that, and got double digits improved fuel economy. But they based their hard results on the in-lab testing, and we're fine with that. But that's where, I mean, like I said, the NOx, the reduction, 88%, right at the source. And this is something I can't enforce enough. I mean, the reality is, we're improving these emissions or reducing these emissions right at the combustion. We are not a filtration system. This is something that nobody else has been able to achieve or validate, and we have now proven this and validated this worldwide.
Okay, let's go to the live questions. The first question is from Mark. He's asking, when you put a unit on your Ford diesel, where did you place the unit?
I did it on my unit. I mean, on my truck. The reality is, it's a smaller CHG2 unit. I have a truck on my cab, so I made a shelf right at the front of the cap and had it put there. I mean, this was initially done for testing purposes and like that. Like I said, I mean, this is not our market that we're trying to penetrate. I mean, since then, I've looked at different applications. The reality is, I can get what they call a lift kit for my back seat, where it lifts at 3 inches, where I could have it mounted under the back seat of my truck. But initially, it was within the cab, right at the front in the back of my truck.
Okay. So I think it was Ali. I think he's asking a live question, which was asked earlier. Is are OEMs willing to integrate the dynaCERT technology in the manufacturing process directly?
I think I've already answered that question, but the reality is they have a strong interest. We are in a lot of talks with a lot of OEMs. Right now, we're in talks with the OEMs. Right now, we are not, that is not a market that today we are, penetrating or even talking about. But, I believe, in the future, there will be news, relating to that. So.
Okay, Peter is asking, how do you keep up with the technical improvements in diesel engines and the e-engine trucks?
Oh, that's a great question. And yes, I mean, that has certainly been a challenge, but we have experts in the field, and we use a lot of outside, experts and consultants also. But now with our smart ECU and the way it is developed, like I said, it's not unlike a smartphone. It is learning all the time. So, the reality is, we are getting great results with modern day engines and modern day computerization.
Okay, Corey is asking about recurring revenue. How do you make money after installation?
Well, recurring revenue for the company, it is certainly, I mean, there's two things. I mean, there is one, our hydrolytica, and this isn't something we talked about, but the hydrolytica, like I said, this is a fleet management system on steroids. Now, I mean, if somebody wants full access to this, instead of their fleet management system, there is a small reoccurring monthly revenue for that, not unlike what they would pay for another fleet management system. And if they choose to take that, that qualifies them for 50% of the future carbon credits. If they do not choose to take that, dynaCERT maintains 100% of the future carbon credits. But, so between the hydrolytica and the carbon credits, that is for sure the reoccurring revenue or our razor blade.
Okay. Ali is asking, within what time frame will Verra issue their carbon credit approval?
Well, I think we answered that question not long ago.
Okay, so let's see. The next one is, what is the lifetime of these units? I think Marcel is asking about that.
No, that's a great question. I mean, we expect a lifetime. I mean, there is no moving parts in this unit now. Does it need to go? I mean, our life expectancy of this unit is 10 years. The reality is, depending on the mileage and the time, it has to go through what we call a regen. They take it back to the dealer. It is flushed and replenished with the KOH solution, which is within a sealed unit. But that can happen anytime, within a year to a year and a half. Other than that, the only thing that they have to do is maintain the distilled water. It does have a tank for the distilled water, and it gives them on their smartphone or wherever they so choose, it gives them notice, not unlike a fuel tank, when they're running low on the distilled water, they have to fill the distilled water. If they did not, the unit would automatically shut down and everything would just revert back to its original operating until such time they refilled it.
Okay, so Any other questions? It looks like we've pretty much most of the live questions we have already been answered earlier. I think that's it, Jim. I think we've exhausted all the questions already. So Jim, on that note, I want to thank you, and we look forward to hearing more from dynaCERT in the coming weeks.
Thank you very much, Jack. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, and thank you everybody for joining us, and we'll see you back on the next live stream.